So, I am back with part 2 of my OWLS reading wrap-up, and I'm going to call this one the manga edition because all of the books that I am going to talk about are, in fact, manga. 3 of the 4 books that I'm going to talk about are actually 4 challenges within the OWLS read-a-thon. One of them is a sort of epilogue to 2 of the books that were part of the read-a-thon, so I'm going to talk about that one as well because it's only short and it's part of the same series, so I figured it makes sense to just talk about it all in one go. So I'm going to start off with the book that isn't part of that series, which is Monster by Naoki Urasawa. This is the book that I read for the subject Transfiguration, the prompt for which was to read a book with a red cover or sprayed edges, and this one has, well, it's a maroon cover, but that's a kind of red, so we're going with it. This book follows a character named Dr. Tenma, who is a Japanese doctor working in Germany post-World War II, and he is a very, very talented neurosurgeon who is trying to improve his career and climb the career ladder. But then he gets caught up in the investigation into a serial killer who has killed a couple of people that he knew or knows or knew, whichever. And we follow him as he gets involved in that investigation and tracking down the killer. Now, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on this channel before, but I am a massive Grey's Anatomy fan. I have watched every single episode of Grey's Anatomy, I don't even know how many times, easily more than 10. I absolutely love that show, and so I really enjoyed the medical elements at the beginning of this manga. It was really fun for me to read that because there was a lot of medical jargon that I was already familiar with, which gave me this little smug haha I already know what that means thing because I've watched Grey's Anatomy. I mean, I'm clearly not a doctor. Literally all of my medical knowledge has come from Grey's Anatomy, which, I mean, it's probably reasonably accurate because they do have doctors consulting on the show to make sure that the medical information that they're putting out there is correct. A little bit of trivia for you, but so because of that I really like the character of Dr. Tenma, and although I don't usually read mystery thriller books because they stress me out a little bit, this one isn't so suspenseful. It's more intrigue than high tension, which makes it a little bit easier for me to read it, and I really enjoyed reading it, so much so that I actually picked up volume 2, which I will speak about in another video. This one was really enjoyable and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then we come to my new obsession, which is the Orange series. So we have Orange, the complete collection 1 and 2, and then Future, which is the epilogue that I read that doesn't count towards any of my OWLS, but I'm just going to talk about it here anyway. So Orange Complete Collection 1 was my Herbology read, which was to read a book with plants on the cover, so you can see there are lots of trees there. And then I loved volume 1 so much that I picked up volume 2, which counts as the Potions Next Ingredient read, a sequel. And then, like I said, Futures doesn't count towards my OWLs, but I wanted to read it anyway. So I'm just going to speak about volume 1 really, because like I said, this is a sequel, so I don't want to tell you too much about it. But essentially this series follows a group of friends, and a new boy joins the class and becomes part of this group of friends, and our main character Naho receives a letter from her future self telling her what steps she needs to take. And although she at first thinks it's a joke, she soon realizes that these letters really are predicting the future, and so she starts to follow their example. Now, I do need to just give a couple of trigger warnings here. There are heavy themes for depression and suicide in this series, so you do need to be aware of that. I found them really emotional and heart-wrenching, and this series is possibly one of my new favourite series of all time. I felt such an intense connection to these characters and to this story, and I actually finished this last Sunday. I read it on Sunday morning and I felt so intensely connected to this book and the characters, and I wanted to know so badly what was going to happen next that I actually went into central London to pick up volume 2. So I travelled 40 minutes into town to spend 10 minutes buying this book to come straight home 40 minutes again and immediately read this. Unfortunately, they did not have a copy of Futures, so I had to order this on Amazon, so I didn't get to read it until Monday evening, but that was okay because this is an epilogue and this is the main story is in these 2 entries here. I'm going to do a separate video reviewing these manga because I felt so deeply connected to these books and I have so many thoughts that I want to share with you all that I don't want to get into here. I would really like to do a thorough review of these books, possibly next month, because I'd actually like to reread them and take notes before I do my review. That's how seriously I feel about these. They're so incredible. I felt so invested in the story because it was just so emotionally impactful, and so I would really like to do a more thorough review, possibly with spoilers. I'll probably do like a spoiler section towards the end of that video. What I will just quickly say now though is that the epilogue didn't necessarily go where I was hoping it would go, but that's a very minor niggle. So for now I gave these 2 5 out of 5 stars each and this one 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved them and I will be doing a separate review video, but I'm keeping this one short. So those are all the books I read for Transfiguration, Herbology and Potions, and I will see you in the next wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks! Bye!